What you just saw right there was a collection of test animations that I made to see if this idea of mine even works. And it does, but it's got some limitations to it. Admittedly, it has limitations. For example, the first one here that you saw, the truck, if you move it too slowly, it's kind of jittery, and you could see that in the test animation. The birds, I thought were pretty much perfect. There's nothing wrong with the birds. It was just short because it was a pain to move them individually. You saw the tree, which I think kind of told me that if you don't do it one block at a time, and it just kind of looks like a time lapse. So that one felt less like stop motion, and I kind of learned from that one there. Now the stock ticker was a great one for the signs. However, you could actually see in the bottom part the armor stands and the item frames, the entities flickering in and out, because this method does not work with entities. It only works with actual blocks. It can be block entities, but it doesn't work with entities. So unfortunately, I can't do this with armor stands and make them move around because they just flicker in and out, which is really unfortunate because I wanted to do that to like animate armor stands walking up into the bank or something, but I couldn't do it. It just wasn't feasible. And of course the train, I think this actually taught me a positive lesson over here with the train, which actually I've now deleted for the sake of this video. But it told me that if you want to get a smoother animation, you got to be very careful not to let yourself make one of the frames too long. And if you speed it up a bit, if you speed up the train a little bit, you can just increase the speed within the game, and then it does wonders. It works great and it looks super smooth. But I should probably explain what I mean by within the game, because I've not seen anyone do this before. Create stop motion, and I'm going to call it stop motion, but it's kind of different within Minecraft. And you only need one mod for it, and that is Flashback. If you have Flashback, you'll get these little buttons on the side. You can start recording and then pause recording, and then pause, unpause, pause, unpause. And what's really nice, or no, we'll make a light source block. Here we go. So let's pause. Then I move this over here, unpause, pause. Then I move this over here, unpause, pause. Now I can export it. And let's just go into the flashback menu to show you how this is done. Boop. It'll load the flashback file for me in just a minute. Okay, this is less than a second of animation. Let me turn off players, particles, and entities. You're seeing the block move across like it's a stop motion. Because I'm essentially stitching each of the frames or each of the partial pieces, they're actually not frames. They're not pictures. They're little tiny snippets of video. And because you can see between, like, while this block is just sitting here, you can see my player still moving within this frame, quote unquote. Still moving slightly, you know, still moving slightly. You can see that. But if I get rid of the things that would indicate that to you, and I can also, you can see here the time does pass. With flashback, I can override time. Set it to something, and then boop, 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 boop. See? And then there's nothing obvious about it. It just looks like the sea lantern block is moving. And I can just in, out, file, export. And you can just export it as a video. So with this technique, you can essentially create a whole structure, move it block by block, and make it look like it's moving with flashback. It is built-in stop motion into Minecraft, which is crazy because, you know, Minecraft animations are common, but usually you have to use Blender or Minimator or something of that sort. But with this, you can just do it in-game with whatever world you have. You don't have to learn Blender. You don't have to learn an editor. You can just build a thing, change the thing you built, unpause, pause, and then do it again a bunch of times. Which, needless to say, this gave me a very fun idea. Well, first of all, you saw those test animations. Something else I did immediately after that was put it to use for my actual video making process, and specifically for my streams. I made a stinger. I'm very white because it's dark out and I have a bright monitor. But look! Stinger! That whole thing was made up, sped up a little bit. That whole thing was made. That's not two PNGs sliding into each other and then sliding back out. No. You'll see. That's animated. It's got a sound effect added onto it, but that is animated within Minecraft using this technique. You can do it with bigger things. It's great. So with the big idea being here to create something immersive, to create something interesting and unique, I think it's time that I do something really cool. And that takes me to this area here. You know, here, this is just a test world. You can see there's stuff up there that's no longer up there, actually, as of this video. Let me just... But let's move in-game, actually, onto the server in a sec to show you what my idea was. Wow, it has been a hot minute since I worked on this particular project. I have spread out this video over so long, which is probably not a good idea. But look, I have the tunnel built very far down now. It's not all the way down, but it's pretty close. And I would like to cut this off here. There's going to be another section of tunnel before I actually start building here, but I've got all of these resources here, and I'd like to do something else for the time being. I'd like to actually build a piece of this here. I just said this without actually explaining what I was doing. What? Have I lost my ability to be a YouTuber? Jeez. Okay. Okay. So you can see here, I built all of these sections of tunnel. There's the half section in 1, 2, 3. There's going to be a fourth one down here eventually. And then after this fourth one here, we're kind of in the middle of the mountain valley here. We're kind of in the middle of the bowl. So once we get kind of to the middle of the bowl, I can open this up a bit, and this will be storage system on this side, and on this side we'll have the reactor, and then up to the big special project. But for now, it's a bit of a different story because I'd like to actually temporarily block this off, which I know sounds odd, but I have a plan. Allow me to grab some stone. I want to block this off and make it look like we're still digging out the tunnel, which I think is a neat idea at the very least. I think if I just kind of look at that, yeah, you can make this look like it's still a bit under construction. We're still digging all of this out. For the animation, this stuff is gonna go entirely. All of these anvils are they're just not gonna be here because I need to be able to make the thing. You'll see. I can't keep these anvils here, but for now, in the actual world, actually on the server, they're gonna remain here. Let me get some detail blocks. It's quite simple. Not a ton of effort put into it, but it's got a little bit of texturing now, which is good. Just delete it. I got rid of my inventory. I didn't mean to do that. I didn't need it anyway. This is a creative world. Now, the goal is to make something really cool. And I have an idea. If you guys don't already know what they are, there's a game called Titanfall and Titanfall 2. EA, please, Titanfall 3. It's right there. Anyways, so that exists and it's very cool. And I would like to make a big mech thing, a big mech, big robot suit mech thing. It's gonna march down this hall, get to the end, and start drilling the stone. And it's gonna start chipping away at it to extend the tunnel. And that is gonna be our animation. And the mech is gonna be right here, standing on the other side. And it's going to walk through, and it's going to walk all the way down. You're going to get a side profile, you're going to get a bottom up profile, and then it's going to reach the side, and it's going to start like punching away at it, or maybe it's going to have a drill on its arm or something. I don't know, but I want to start designing it stat. I want to do this now. However, I also want to do it on stream. So I'm going to do that. So enjoy a stream of me designing with my face on it, with my thought process. Okay, go. So the first thing I want to do is I want to scale the mech because I don't want it to be taller than this. I want it to kind of like fit pretty neatly in here, but not like, I don't have to make it crouch under the door here. That's like roughly the scaling that I want. So I'm just going to keep that back there. Doing this at scale is a lot harder than I was thinking it would be. As it was. That fixes it though. That's not too bad. Okay. Now what we got to do is we got to take this and we have to make a bunch of different frames of it. What I am going to do, though, is give Pizza Bug the stick. Look at that. That's cool. Okay. So, now the plan is to actually make the animation. And this is going to be the tough part. I think that's the last export. I'm not going to stitch it together on stream because that is an activity for you to see in the video. That was a very successful stream and actually got me everything I needed. And I even grabbed all the stuff to build the mech in game, which is very cool. It probably won't stay here long term, but for now, this is a good place to put it. So I'm just gonna bop this together real quick. I'm gonna print it all. Bonk, 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 bonk. That's not right. And there we go. We got the mech sitting here. I did want to build it in game and have it sitting around. I'll probably move it somewhere else later. Maybe have it doing something else. Maybe I'll make more iterations of this in the future, kind of around the area, working in like the storage system and stuff. But for now, this is great. The first mech that we've made, the first bit of, robotics we've done, quote unquote, which is very, very cool. But I know why you're here. I know what you're waiting for. Thank you in advance for watching this video, or thank you for sticking around, and I hope you enjoy the animation and all of the work I put into it. So please enjoy. We at the Pizza Engineering Corporation are so excited to introduce our newest innovation in the field of engineering and technology, pushing the future forward. The P100 construction mech. Powered by a single miniaturized cold fusion reactor, this marvel of engineering prowess can support its own weight, plus an extra payload of up to 3 tons. It can also be fitted with extra attachments to the arm, such as saws, claws, grapples, and drills. The capabilities of this new product are unmatched, and it wouldn't have been possible without our newly formed division, PEC Robotics.